I'm interviewing the leading candidates for governor about important issues facing Californians. I'm Sophia Bolag. I'm a state politics reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle. Here are a few excerpts from my conversations with the candidates. To read more from my interviews and to see our complete voter guide, go to sfchronicle.com.
Rolling. Okay, great.
I am a believer that we should triple the tax credit for EVs. Now, that's a huge incentive, but it's also incumbent on the government to make sure that there are places where you can charge your electric vehicle successfully in the state of California. And, I know that range anxiety is real, that a lot of those charging stations aren't operative, and there aren't enough of them. So when someone says to me 97% of the vehicles in the San Joaquin Valley are internal combustion vehicles and say, isn't that awful? I'm like, we don't have the charging stations to make it for it to be practical for people there. Three words: windfall profits tax. I mean, we've seen the price of gasoline go up $1.50 a gallon at the pump. That is going right into the oil companies' profits. Their costs haven't gone up a penny. They're selling us gasoline based on a world price, based on problems people are having in Asia and Europe. Their costs haven't moved a penny. All that's happened is their profits have skyrocketed. Okay, no. We have a tax on the books that we don't need to redo it. We need to actually implement it. And so we're seeing, a $70 billion wet smooch to the oil companies who put Donald Trump in the presidency. And and it's coming right out of the pockets of Californian citizens who are absolutely strapped for money to begin with. Using new technologies, basically industrial construction off-site and then assemblage on-site, which will drive down the cost of housing per square foot by a third. That's different. And I think it's critical to use the buying power of the state to give those technologies the kind of scale and scope that will allow us to get economies of scale. But I think the fourth thing is this. I've said on day one, I'll call a special election to close a corporate real estate tax loophole that's worth $20 billion at the local level to the state. Why is that important? Because right now, the cities and counties of California have pushed back against new housing because they view it as an unfunded mandate. That basically every time there's a unit built, they're responsible for education services and health services that they can't afford. They literally are putting themselves in a position of peril. And so they've pushed back. And sometimes they've included fees to building a new unit of up to 20% of the value of the unit to get ahead of this problem. I'm saying I'm going to bring $20 billion to the local level. That means it's not an unfunded mandate. That means you don't have to push back against it. That actually we're making it a funded mandate. So now we have a completely different relationship with the localities. I think this issue is much, much clearer now. But in addition, I have a history of winning these. And I think this is a very straightforward question where people are really suffering. We need this money. And I think that is a case that California voters will jump on. And let me say this. Every time I've gone up against funded corporate special interest at the ballot box, people have told me there's no way I can win. No one's ever beaten the oil companies. No one's ever going to beat the tobacco companies. These out-of-state companies people are totally scared of, they're going to win. I think California voters will see through that very, very quickly. Single-payer systems around the world cost about half as much as our system and deliver healthcare that is at least as good. So we don't really have a choice about whether to do this. But as I said, God is in the details. And one of those details is we need an administration in Washington that will support us. That clearly is not this administration. So that means we're at least 3 years away. Honestly, Sophia, I'm not sure. I mean, what I think is by the time the new governor is installed, that is something we would have a plan for. Very detailed of exactly how we're going to go around this.